So excited to talk with the two of you. I mean, to start, suffice it to say, your reputation kind of preceded itself, Rod, even before getting onto this race. So to start, I'm curious, what had you two getting on the race in the first place? Had you been watching the show for long? How did you end up getting on the show in the first place?
No, we haven't been watching for long, but they found us on TikTok. That's how,
Yeah.
and they
Oh,
actually reached out. So we are one of the recruited teams. I know that's rare with the Amazing Race, but so then we definitely started watching a lot more
After
because we
that,
were like, we need to
yeah.
study. Like, what are we getting ourselves into? So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
yeah. So then once you find it out, are you just like training to the fullest of your extent? Because you're also managing a family on top of that. How are you trying to like prepare yourself for the amazing race?
Man, managing a family, owning businesses, but every night we was watching Amazing Race. So once they said, "Hey, we're gonna cash out for this show," and we agreed to it, we probably watched 5 seasons, 5 or 6 seasons
Yeah,
at
we
a time.
definitely. And then athletically, we were pretty in shape. That's something we do day to day for sure. But you know, one thing I wish I would have prepared more for is I should have played hide and seek more. Because when it says go find Phil on the map, I'm like, well, wait a minute, where are we going? I should have played that more with the kids.
Yeah.
So let's jump from the beginning to the end here,
Mhm.
because you would just come out of a first place finish in the DR. You feeling probably pretty good. Like, yeah, we finished in the top in the beginning. We can finish at the top in the end. Talk to me about what happened here in Philly. Was it just a matter of like getting the wrong tasks at the wrong time? Was it a matter of everything in the stress kind of building all at once? How did everything fall apart for the two of you?
Oh Lord, in
I I
Philly,
I think Philly was a challenge because how do you say it? For one, it was super cold. So
freezing. It was
that changed the
freezing.
dynamics of everything. We were
It's
so used to the
cold.
sun, enjoying life, got to feel it was 30 degrees outside. So
Oh,
that was tough for the first part. But I just think the challenges was it didn't play to our strengths. Like they really want to do a memory, challenge for
yeah,
me in that point where we got to recite the declaration, which is one it wasn't one of my strong suits. So
for
that
sure.
was a struggle. It was funny, but it was a struggle because I was definitely trying to memorize that thing as fast as possible. It took some time.
Yeah, I think that part definitely. I think just the challenges. I think we were preparing for ourselves for what we had seen mostly on the Amazing Race, and at the end, it's usually something that had to do with everything that we kind of did throughout the entire race. So I feel like I was studying for that and remembering the flags, remember where we went, remembering the detours, remember our placements, and I think my expectations were we were going to be in a completely different environment. So when we got to the challenges, I was like, oh, okay, this is nothing that I
This
was
is
trying to
different.
prepare for. So yeah, it just didn't play to our strengths for sure.
100%.
Now let's reverse course and go back to the beginning again, because something that did play to your strengths were those first couple of legs. How did you feel? I mean, I would imagine racing alongside all these super fans, you're probably like, all right, I think we'll do pretty well. Though I don't know, Rod, if your competitive edge had you from the beginning being like, no, we're a first place team. We deserve
Oh,
first place.
100%. From the gate, I was like, our job is to come first place every time. And
Yeah.
if it was something that we felt like we can knock out quick or kill a challenge, I was always up for it. I love the intensity and love, my bad. I love the intensity and I love the competition. So it was amazing for me. One thing about it, I had to keep my wife motivated
Lord.
because it was a new experience for her. She's not really into the competitive thing. She'll compete for
Yeah,
herself.
I'm
She'll challenge
competitive,
herself.
but not to the same degree as he is. Like he gets motivated by the people next to him. I'm
Yes.
self-motivated, so I can only run my own race. I can't focus on what they're doing next to me. So he's like, look at them over there. I'm like, forget them over there. I gotta focus right here,
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely brought out a different level of competitiveness. And but I think the biggest thing for me is even though he's super competitive, because I'm a fighter, like I refuse to quit. So if I'm
Mhm.
gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And I'm just gonna follow all the way through.
But the
Yeah.
first day was a standard because in the day, as much running as we had to do, it was so much
It
running.
was so hot.
To me, it played to my strength because it's like, baby, we finna kill this. And everybody think we're gonna choose every physical challenge,
Yeah.
which we not, because we got to
Yeah.
play smart. Because in the day, there's no need to kill ourselves in the first challenge when
Physically,
we don't
yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
And I got to play to my wife. Like everybody think we should choose every
Being physical.
thing because of me. And it's like y'all don't understand. I got a wife with me who she don't want to pull them horses down the street.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. I'm so glad I didn't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, well, I'm intrigued about that because we heard actually at one point you, Leticia, talk about like sort of you two having different motivators. That Rod is, of course, like pedal to the metal, gotta keep working. You know, you're your own biggest weakness. And Leticia, you're like, I've been through a lot in my life. I'm good with just kind of like getting there when we get there. How tough was it to kind of manage those two motivators over the course of the race?
Oh, definitely tough. I mean, for the most part, because we've been together for so long, we know each other's strengths, and we know the degree on how far we're willing to go. And one thing he knows about me, even if I'm not as motivated as him, I'm gonna follow his lead on the decisions, and I'm gonna push through with everything I've got. So even though it's not my strength to be like, oh, okay, do it, I'm gonna do it if that's what we're gonna do. So I think I carry my own weight with that, even so.
Yeah, I think I just had to push the intensity.
Yeah, his thing was like even when we're getting ready to race, it's like, listen, I know when your body says quit, that's when you got to go harder. And I'm like, well, no, my body says stop.
Slow down. No.
I haven't got there yet mentally, so it was definitely a challenge to keep pushing through.
So there were, a few times when you two kind of got into those disagreements where it seemed like, for instance, like the dancing, where like Rod, you'd be like, we're doing this thing, we're going this direction. And Leticia would be like, okay, I told you where the pit stop was. I said, let's not do the dancing. Talk to me about sort of dealing with that because look, I'm sure it's the first or the last conflict that you've had in your marriage. Did you kind of handle it the way that you've handled a lot of things in your relationship, or did the race kind of put a magnifying glass on that dynamic?
No, I think for the most part, we still handle it. I think we've learned, in marriage and even on the race, to fight the problem and not each other. We are going to make
Mm.
mistakes. We're not always going to make the best decision, but we're going to laugh about it, make the best of it. I might kick a screen along the way and say, told you so. But ultimately, it was the decision. We followed through. We did it.
We gotta get it done.
And we get over it. Yeah, we don't harbor for sure.
Because to me, it was like dancing, it can't be that hard. But at the end of the day, I didn't know we had to choreograph a whole routine. But I felt like that played our strength in trying to figure out the
puzzle.
The puzzle. It felt like I could do the dancing. We'll knock that out quicker. But yeah, it didn't take as long, but it definitely was tough.
And I don't mind letting him put his foot in his mouth sometimes. I'm like, oh, that's what you want to do? Okay, fine. And then watch us struggle and be like, well, that one was on you.
Well, I know you had two left feet, but I didn't know they was that. Even though I didn't look too good neither.
I'm about to say, did you see yourself?
Well, let's talk about some of your relations to the other teams. Juan and Shane, it seemed like, you were helping them out in quite a few tests, even the roadblock that you all did back in the Dominican Republic. And I know when I talked with Danny and Angie, he said that like there was this side thing going on with you and Juan and Shane and Amber and Vinny as well. So talk to me about that dynamic.
Yeah, definitely Juan and Shane. We love them, first of all. They were so much fun to race with.
Yes.
And which made it easy to create alliances with when you're all like each other.
No, we definitely had a good time. Like we bonded so fast. So it was like, man, one, we're gonna leverage each other because we want to see each other in the final day. So it was like, man, however we can help each other throughout this race, let's piggyback and get it done.
Yeah.
And I don't think we didn't get a chance to see as much, but it was a lot of times that we definitely was aligned with a lot of the challenges. But in the day, Vinny and Amber, they was a great team too.
We ran with them too on the Mega League, but I don't think we ran with them too much outside of the Mega League.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that probably was the only one really we all teamed up.
And I definitely needed Amber that day, so shout out to her.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't understand the objective of the race is to make the final dance. We got to get to the final day. Yeah. So whatever it takes to get there. Everybody want to say you should have did this, y'all shouldn't have. Why we shouldn't?
We were strategic. It got us to the top 30.
Our job is to make it to the final date.
Yeah.
Yeah, so talk to me about that because I'm sure you've heard it a bit that fans are sometimes not a big fan of like big team strategy on the race, especially what you all did, right? Kind of like going through as one big 6-person team, staying behind to help each other, blocking other teams out of the detour. Were you surprised you wound up in that position? And talk to me a little bit more about sort of your approach to that idea of strategy.
Yeah, no, I think definitely all three of us, all three different teams, we really fed to each other's strength in that moment. And the biggest thing was to survive and get through it. So we had built that alliance and it was us and everyone else that day. And even though I rubbed fans the wrong way, it worked in all of our favors. We needed each other at different places. And people talked a lot about with Amber helping me on the mat, which thank God she did. But they, also we're the reasons why they both made it out the meat challenge. So, and Danny helped us to get to the roadblock. So
it was amazing.
I led in one area, they led in one area, but we all helped each other, and ultimately it worked in our favor.
Yeah, I think that's what made the dynamic work, because everybody had input.
Yeah, everyone
so
had,
it wasn't
was
one that you was just leaning on one team's strengths and you didn't add value. So everybody added value. We was trying to knock out Shane, Warren, Ricky, and Cesar from 1 and 2.
Right.
So our objective was to try to actually overtake them, so we could pair up while they fighting each other. But they did amazing. I tell you.
Yeah, they did amazing.
I mean, Shane and Warren killed that day, so it was one that we couldn't get up there. But we was trying. That was the objective, was to get first and second.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, last thing I want to ask is that you both had, so much support of each other over the course of this, but I'm intrigued. Obviously, being married and having a family together, very different than The Amazing Race. What did you learn the most about the other person racing around the world together? Rod, let's start with you.
Man, first I'd say I want to give big ups to my wife. This was out of her wheelhouse. At first, she didn't know if she was motivated enough or she even wanted to do it, because it was something she'd never done before, and it was really out of her comfort zone for her to push through and say, baby, I'm gonna do it because I know you want to do it, and to come in with a positive attitude and see how well she did. It was amazing. Like, I give my wife all the respect. That's why they always saying, like, man, you were so supportive. I'm like, I know. I was amazed and love and enjoyed to see my wife out there competing and getting it done, and taking on all these obstacles and challenges. It was amazing for me. So I was enjoying the time with my wife doing all this.
Yeah.
Because you don't never really get that experience. When you get a chance for you and your spouse to compete against other teams
with
and
no kids or nothing
around the world, like, you don't really get that opportunity. And at the same time, race for $1 million.
It's true.
Yeah. Leticia, what about you?
So I feel like the biggest thing I learned is in the finale in DR, I feel like I swear I had a concussion when that pole hit me on that windsurfing. And I was like, and I remember saying it to him after, but I jumped right back on there and I killed it. And I was like, I get why when you play football, these concussion cases, which aren't a good thing, but I get why you like, don't take me out the game, coach. Like, let me just keep going. Like, it's all on us. The game is on the line. So you got to get up, you got to keep fighting, and you push through the pain. So I realized that day, in that moment, I'm like, okay, I can't stop. I'm okay, but I just got to keep going. So I realized that in that moment, like, where that drive comes from, when life knocks you down, get up and go even harder the next time around. So,
and I definitely told her, baby, we got to focus on the next play. We can't worry about what already happened. We just got to focus on the next play.
Yeah.
So she did well with that.
Yeah. That definitely helped us push through like conflict, because he can be so, let's go, get over it. I'm like, well, I'm still in my feelings. I'm not over it yet. And even though I dwell at home a little bit longer than I do on the race, but on the race, I realized, okay, I can't be mad at yesterday's race. So I got to focus on today's. We got to keep moving. So pushing through, I learned how to do that for sure on the race.
Yeah, well, I'm super glad that you did end up pushing through to the end, because you are such a delight to watch, to have you all have that success in the beginning and even through the middle, you were pushing through some of those difficulties, but you really showed how solid racers you were to the very end, and how solid you were with each other. Just watching you both be like so supportive of each other. Look, we've had strong teams crumble and relationships really struggle in these very pressurized circumstances, but like, I think you two show the confidence and the skills that exist within your relationship and your communication skills to be able to make it so far and do so well, both in the race and with each other.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
We work hard for this. So I tell people, man, you just got to keep putting work in, because it is challenging, but at the same time, you can enjoy it as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I wish you and your family nothing but the best, and I cannot wait to see what happens next with the two of you. Thank you both so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you so much.
All right, see you later, bye.
All right, have a good one. Bye.
You too.